Welcome to Math with Miss Swartz. Today we'll be looking at volume of cones. If you were in my classroom, we just did an example where we took a cone and we put water in the cone and we dumped that water into a cylinder to see the relationship between a cone and a cylinder, which you see here. I have the question to start today: what's the difference between a cone and a cylinder? If we can figure out the relationship between the two, we'll easily be able to figure out what the formula of a cone is in comparison to a cylinder. So I'm going to show you a picture here of kind of the idea of what our experiment in the classroom was, just in case you weren't there. So what we did was we filled up this cone right here full of water, and then we poured it into our cylinder. And on our cylinder we had labeled thirds. So we split our cylinder into thirds. And when we poured the water in, what we noticed was it filled up 1/3 of that cylinder. Okay? And this is only if our circles are equivalent. Okay? So they have the same diameter, the same radius, they would have the same area, etc. But it filled up 1/3. So that should help us figure out what is the relationship between a cylinder and a cone, and how could we find the volume of a cone. So what do we know about cylinders? Well, we know the volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height. What that really means for us is pi r squared, because that is the area of a circle, times the height of the cylinder. Well, if when we poured the cone into the cylinder, we got 1/3 of what the volume of the cylinder was, would it be safe to say the volume of a cone is 1/3 of whatever the volume of that cylinder would be? Hopefully you're following along and you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to show you. So here is the volume of a cone formula that you will be using. As you can see, it says 1/3 pi r squared h. So it's 1/3 of the volume of a cylinder. And as it says, a cone is 1/3 of a cylinder. So this is important to have down in your notes. It's also on your reference sheet, as many of the formulas are. So when we're working with this, we're basically doing similar pieces to finding the volume of a cylinder, but this time what we're going to do, another way to think of it, is we're going to be dividing it by 3. So let's do some examples today. Our first example here, we have a cone and we have some information here. I'm going to first write the volume formula for a cone. So 1/3 pi r squared h. If you don't like fractions, just write it over 3. So pi is 3.14. The radius here, halfway across the base of the cone, is 3. And the height of the cone is 11, it tells us. And we're going to be dividing that by 3. So instead of writing the fraction, I just made it into division. So now I just got to do some math. So we have 3.14. 3 squared is 9. Times 11, and then we're going to divide all of that by 3. So now I would go ahead and take my calculator. So I have 3.14 times 9 times 11, and then I'm going to divide. When I do that, I get 310.86 divided by 3 is going to be 103.62 centimeters cubed. So make sure you have that example in your notes. Awesome. Let's try this next one. Volume equals pi r squared h divided by 3. I know a lot of you don't like the fractions, that's why I'm trying to avoid it. So If we plug in what we know, we would have 3.14. Now be careful here. What is our radius? Well, it's not 13. That's all the way across. It would be half of 13, which is 6.5. So 6.5 squared, and then h is 32. And we're going to be dividing that by 3. So now we have 3.14. 6.5 times 6.5 is 6.5 squared, so that would be 42.25 all over 3. So calculator time for sure. I'm going to multiply these all across. So I multiplied the numerators. Just want to make sure I multiplied them correctly. 3.14 times 42.25 times 32 is 4,245.28, and then I'm going to divide that by 3. So my volume here is fairly large, 1,415, and I'm going to round 0.1 because it's kind of goes on forever. Inches cubed since it's volume. All right, make sure you have that one down as well. All right, finally your example. So go ahead, take a moment, try this one. Yes, you need to write it down. And when you are done, you can get your notes checked and you'll be able to work on homework. But something important that I want to stress is find something to do when you are all done. All right, if you have questions throughout the video, make sure you come ask. This is your time to get any questions about the lesson answered. While I'm not teaching, you're able to come talk to me. So make sure you do that. All right, have a great day.